Hey, Danny, how you doing today?
Hey Chris, thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm looking forward to this. I tell you, folks, I was so excited when Danny wanted to be on the show, and I was so honored because he's a successful lifestyle business entrepreneur that is kind of living the life a lot of people want to live. I can tell you from my own perspective. And when I thought about bringing Danny on, the other reason I was so psyched is I realized that as a coach, you have a chance to create a lifestyle business, whether you want to travel the world or not. So you definitely want to listen. Definitely want to stick around. Remember, we go for about an hour, and at the very, very end, we're going to give you a special offer from Danny. But before we get into all of that, and before we have all the fun we're going to have today, as usual, we're going to go through Danny's hero's journey. And once again, we're going to talk about the beginning, the turning point, and the aftermath to getting Danny to where he is today. So, Danny, before we dive into the deep down and dirty details, give us a quick overview of your hero's journey, where you started. And remember, like 30, 60 seconds, something like that, just a quick overview, where you started, kind of that low point you got to, or the point you got to, low or not, that turned it around, and then the aftermath, where you're at today.
Yeah, sure. So I've always had entrepreneurship in my DNA. My father was an entrepreneur, started several companies, and he kind of grew me up to be an entrepreneur, groomed me that way anyway, since I was a young boy. When I was 7, 8 years old, I would go around, knocking on people's doors, offering to take out their trash for them, stuff like that. I started up a POG business, which was like a little game. Back in the 90s, when I was about 10 or 11. Just a series of businesses, a lot of trial and error, a succession of failures, a lot of failing. Some successes, but it was certainly hard won. I joined the military. I've been a martial arts instructor. I've been to an art school. I studied advertising. After that, I had like a big choice I had to make about the rest of my life, and realized that it was a big choice to make, and I wasn't really ready to kind of just dive into conventional career paths. So I just kind of, at that point, it was like sink or swim. I was homeless at that point, and kind of just couch surfing at my cousin's place, and really just hit the ground hard. Started to offer advertising services to clients. That grew, and eventually I picked up some good clients, and through a period of really working hard, building myself up, reading one business book per week. I was studying everything from Dan Kennedy, direct marketing, business systems. I was able to simplify what I was offering, and really increase the profit margins significantly, and reduce my working hours from about 60, 70 hours to 10 hours a week.
Awesome, that's epic. It's kind of funny because as soon as you mentioned Dan Kennedy, a big smile came to my face because I knew through our interactions there's somewhere deep inside there was a GKIC or at least somebody, for those of you who don't know, Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle, or at least somebody who has studied Dan. I was fortunate enough I'm fortunate enough to be friends with a couple of his marketers of the year, Charlie McDermott and Jeff Gianconva. I can't pronounce. Jeff's got this great Italian last name. Can't pronounce it, but he sells $30,000 mattresses and makes a good living doing it. So anyway, but that's not the point of this episode. So it's great to kind of summarize that for our viewers. It was beautiful because Danny, he had this very eclectic background. Military arts kind of doesn't seem like it might fit together. Then again, I know somebody else who started off as an artist and went through West Point. Topic for another time. But then, as all great, eventual great entrepreneurs went through that couch surfing homeless period, and then finally said, hey, I gotta figure out how to turn this around. And by the way, it'd be much, better to be able to travel the world, work, 10 hours a week and do everything I want to do and still make a great living doing it, rather than the 60 to 80 hours a week. And before I go on, one of the things I want everybody to really realize something: hard work is great. But there's an old story that people tell about a guy living on an island, and the short version is that the guy living on the island is coaxed into trying to create this huge business And the Westerner finally says, after the guy on the island asked him why enough times, he says, so that you can build this big business and then retire and sell it and retire on an island. And the guy on the island just kind of laughs and casts his fishing rod out again. So Danny, I applaud you. You're living on that island right now, man. It's, you know, he's in Bangkok. By the way, we forgot to tell folks, he's coming to us live today from Bangkok, which is, you know, for people who grew up in the 80s, you know, the Oriental city where the city. Anyway, we're going off on a way too big of a tangent, so let's get right into this. Let's get into Danny's hero's journey. Danny, tell us more about the beginning, and let's find out more a little bit about where you came from and the beginning, you know, pre-turnaround time.
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.